Hey, welcome everybody to episode 50 of the Wantrepreneur.
50? God damn.
15. See, look, like first time bringing it in.
My goodness.
Episode 15 of the Wantrepreneur STC podcast. Episode 15. Today we are talking about burnout, and I'm with the co-host, Collie.
That's me. The second. Don't get me mixed up with the pasta daddy.
And we got Gail Hanna. We got Gail Hanna the first. Whoop, whoop. And I'm your next host, Travis Miller the first.
With your clean shave.
With my clean
Look like
shave.
you've been on a date today.
Nope, no dates.
All right.
Besides the one in my calendar.
Oh, moving along.
Clean that.
So, burnout.
Yes.
Travis, please explain to the people, what is burnout? When you say burnout, you don't mean what you was doing, your little Acura.
No.
When you're trying to get out the corner real fast.
No, none of that.
Please tell us what it is.
Sometimes it can feel that way. Sometimes.
Okay.
No, but what we mean by burnout is essentially when, if you, like I said before, if you're creative or an entrepreneur, you're super passionate about what you're doing, right? You're going 100% in, 110, 150% in. And during that time, it's like you have that energy and that passion to do it. But if you go at it all the time, you kind of burn yourself out. Like you don't give your time to take a break or detach from the process. And burnout essentially is when you get to the point where you don't feel creative anymore. You don't feel passionate about it anymore.
Okay.
And it's very real. Like even from outside of just doing your own thing, when you're like in a creative setting where things move so fast and you have to think about a lot of different things and you have to worry about a lot of different things, like it's very taxing on the mental state. So it gets to the point like you can't get into the groove to work anymore. You don't feel as passionate about it as anymore. Whereas dangerous as an entrepreneur is that the reason you kind of got into entrepreneurship is because like this is all you, this is your thing. So when you as the person kind of spearheading and it's all you and you're the only person that you answer to and you burned out, that's kind of a very difficult spot to be in because you don't know how to bounce back from that if you don't take the proper breaks. So I don't know if you guys ever experienced anything like burnout or anything.
Well, yeah, I think, well, let me know. I think the way you defined it, not exactly, because you threw in, it's when you get to the point where you're so burned out that you don't have the passion or the drive, or you just feel like, like you can't continue going. I haven't experienced it in that sense, but I have experienced it to where it's extreme fatigue. The passion was never lost or anything, and I never not wanted to continue. But I work so I don't like to sleep because I feel like I'm missing out on something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's stuff like that that can add to the burnout.
No, trust me, and I'll get to that, and it started taking a toll because personal experience, like I'll be sleeping and driving. It's like the extreme fatigue really sets in. So I don't know if that's considered burnout as well, but
that's like the kind of the side effects, if you will.
But that's the way that's the way I've experienced burnout. It's like extreme fatigue, especially when it comes to like the really, really busy times for me. I mean, every time is all year is busy, but like the extreme busy times would be Valentine's Day and Christmas. And it's like those would be the times where I literally go like 2-3 days with no sleep at all. Just could go in and go in and go in. And I would say on average I probably get about 4 hours of sleep a day. So I experience burnout in terms of fatigue, and this is why, well, not only why, next week I'll be taking a trip. I'll be taking a few days off.
Yes.
Not just for that. I'm also going to a game, NBA game, but it's going to be an opportunity to, get some rest and, be refreshed once I return to get back into the swing of things. But that's the way I experience, or my version of burnout. What about you, Gail?
As an introvert, it's easier for me to get burned out in general. So I think the frequency of the burnout periods for me is more often because like talking to people, interacting with people and stuff train me a lot. And a lot of my jobs and what I do involves being around people. Okay. So like I love my hosting gigs and stuff like that. But after I host, I really have to have like a time period to myself where I could kind of recharge because it's really draining. Or even as Travis and I were in the spot the other day, and like people will see you on stage and stuff, and assume that will carry over into you know your waking life.
Right. They take your
so
stage
even
persona
after
as,
the show, after the show, people will come up and be like, you know, hey, expecting the character that they saw on stage, whereas I'm like, okay, hi, yeah, thanks a lot for coming out, like, okay, and then I could see the confusion on their faces because they're like,
who is this person?
Yeah, so a lot of people, especially for introverts, it becomes a bit more difficult because you have to interact with people in order to have a successful business. But then at the end of the day, you really have to be conscious of how much time you're taking. So I burn out easily. I'm aware of it now. Like I could see when it's happening, which is another thing you have to be conscious of, like knowing yourself and your body and when you could feel yourself starting to shut down, and that's when you need to really take time for yourself to acknowledge this is happening and I need to do something about it, and then move forward from there. So yeah.
Travis,
I mean that's it. But
we want to hear about you when you burn out.
I have listen to me. A lot of my burnout time comes where like the core project like Starter Island, but also like with client work, because especially when it comes to web development, like I love programming, I love coding, and I love it so much to the point where you can feel when you're tired, but you want to push through a little bit more to finish and like to get to a particular point. And that stuff, you might not feel it the first day and the second day, but it adds up over time.
Right.
But the thing, two things that you kind of touched on, Gail, is that burnout is so easy to bypass because you have to keep putting on a face. Like, that's why, one, you got to conserve your energy, and two, you really have to kind of center that time for yourself. And I think that was one of the biggest things I learned from me. Yeah. Because just like when you finish working, you still might get caught up and have to go and talk to people, like especially if you have to make a sale and stuff like that, where you have to keep this energy, because if you the moment you get like lower than that energy, your client kind of picks up on that and kind of be like, oh, you look a little off today, or you look a little tired, or it's like, oh, I didn't get a good vibe, and stuff like that. So all that stuff kind of leads into burnout. So you have to kind of I guess manage your energy more so than managing time.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about some of the signs people that people could look out for when, you know, burnout is starting to, you know, rear its ugly head. What are some of the signs, or let's give some personal signs. Like I said, for me, like I'm probably burnout all the time, because I would say one of the signs is I could fall asleep anytime. Like if I sit still for a long period of time, I'll fall asleep. I can't. It's hard for me to watch TV or movies because I will literally fall asleep. Like seriously. Okay. So I have to keep moving, or else I'll just fall asleep. So I think for me it's like, I think I'm constantly in at least some degree of burnout, because it's so easy for me to just drop sleep because I'm always going all the time. So for me it would be I think that would be a sign. What else?
Yes, and I guess to kind of touch on another note, is a fine line between like entrepreneurship and burn. Like you don't like burnout is kind of like that hidden thing, because like to build something for yourself, you have to work crazy hours. Sometimes you don't see your family, sometimes you don't see friends, and you don't spend enough time doing X, Y, and Z because you are doing a noble and just thing by building your thing. But the kind of the signs where it creeps up is that if you feel yourself not performing to the level that you used to perform at. I feel like if you're still putting out work, but you yourself know you're not satisfied with it, you gotta adjust something. Or you feel like you used to juggle a lot of things, but then more and more those things starting to fall out. And like if you have something on your task list or whatever, and your task list is slowly building up, but you're saying like you could do this tomorrow, but something always comes into play. I think those are like the key signs for burning out.
Yeah, building on what you're saying. Also, I think if you start to hate what you're doing, that's a pretty good sign as well, because we're all passionate about what we do. So if you find yourself really like cursing what you're doing, that's a sign that you need to stop. Right. You needed to take a step back and take some time for yourself. When your passions become like hated, I think a lot of people tend to push and work until they hate what they do. Okay. And it's not necessarily, you know, that you're not supposed to do it or whatever, but you have pushed yourself to a limit. You have not taken any time for yourself. it's time to step back, reevaluate. Maybe you need to change one or two things. But I think that's one of the more classic signs of burnout, where you, like, I'll find myself editing, and I love, you don't eat, you don't sleep.
Right.
Right?
It easily slip by.
Yep.
Because you're essentially you're enjoying yourself as you do your work. But when you start to resent the project and you start to resent what you're doing, I don't know if you like wake up like, or you work and you like, babe, I ain't into cooking these effort cookies. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't on this drive.
Right.
That's when you know
It's time to take a break.
it's time to take a break.
Well, I experienced that a bit more when I was into music production, and you would be, on the computer for hours, making beats or whatever, and there would be times where it becomes monotonous, and you just are not inspired anymore. Like you don't want to do it anymore.
Right.
And sometimes you just really need to take a break. Just leave the computer for a minute. Whether you go watch TV or you go to sleep, you come back the next day, and then it's fresh again. So on that note, how much time would you say one should take away? Or how do we gauge the amount of time you need off when you experience burnout?
Well, I think that it varies.
Yeah, it does definitely.
Because I've heard of entrepreneurs, like the lady who started Huffington Post. She said that she has set time for her to turn her phone off, number one, which is a major thing that we generally
don't do.
Yep. Right? But there is a set block of time where she says no emails, no social media, blah, blah, blah. And then she has her tea, and she has these various things that put her in a calm mood in order to take time for herself. And she does that for 2 hours.
Oh, 2
right?
hours. Okay.
And that's at night, usually while people are sleeping or whatever. That's her wind down period. But for other people,
it varies.
It may take more or less time. So
I think the most important thing is like blocking out that time. So like literally, especially if you, and this is the tricky thing about it, because the glamour that you get into with entrepreneurship is that you can make your own time and you could do your own things on your own pace. But we still don't do it. We still go at it like 24/7 and be like, there's nothing stopping you from taking a break and doing it, but we still fly past it. So I think is blocking that time, but also being disciplined with this is my time.
Yeah, I think,
and nobody comes into that space. This is for me, and it could be just to relax, or you could do it something with purpose, like to read or like to re-energize. For me personally, I like to take time to like clear my head and then look at different things in the industry to kind of learn and kind of stay abreast of what's going on. And nobody comes into that time.
I think we've kind of created this culture that sleep depravity is
a badge.
Oh, yeah, like it's something that you sleeping?
Yeah,
you ain't hustling, you know what I mean? So we treat sleep like, I don't even know how to describe it.
I know exactly what you mean.
We've developed a culture where sleeping is not cool.
Yeah.
And sleep deprivation is not cool.
Right.
Where you pride in yourself so much in not sleeping, you are actually putting yourself at a disadvantage, and you're reducing the quality of your work, you're reducing how long you can be productive, etc. Like, you really need to take some time and sleep.
And a lot of times the people that do that, I mean, the people that brag about doing it, at least, they're doing it for the wrong reason. They're doing it just to say that they're not sleeping, which is ridiculous.
Yeah,
and makes no sense.
Do that too, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you ain't sleeping, but what exactly are you doing with this time?
Yeah, exactly. That's the core thing. It's like we all have 24 hours in a day.
Right.
Some people use that time strategically focused.
Yeah.
And the people saying, "Oh, you sleeping and doing stuff," but like, okay, what have you accomplished in that time frame? Some people could get their day done in 5 and 6 hours, and then they could do whatever they need to do with the rest of the day. Some people feel like they have to fill up the hours of the day to do something, to do things, but busy doesn't always necessarily equate to actually getting stuff done.
Being productive, and also I think your family and friends can be a good thermometer in terms of how burnt out you are, because sometimes you don't notice, but your family and friends will notice, and you may notice, different responses to what you're saying or what you're doing. You may get more snappy or sarcastic remarks from other people around you, and you wonder why they're carrying on like that. But really, they're responding to your attitude, or they're responding to what you're giving them. So sometimes when you see little shifts and changes, it's time to look and say, well, maybe I should take a break, because your relationships, as Travis said, your relationships can suffer, family life, etc., because of you pushing, and not really putting anything into anything else in your life, including yourself. It's really I feel like it's really a form of like self-abuse almost to continue and push through burnout knowing you need a break.
It is.
Right? Like you wouldn't starve a puppy, leave him out in the sun, not give him any water, but you're essentially doing that to yourself when you burn out. Well, yeah, hopefully.
Yeah,
right?
No, that's the point. It's like it has to be a balance. Like,
right.
So it's basically work-life balance is what you're speaking of.
I wouldn't even go that far because that's a lie. There's no such thing as a work-life balance. Now, Greg, before you even hop in and say that,
I think, and I'm processing, I'm thinking about it. Go ahead.
It'll always be a moving
one
act.
or the other.
Like I said, like I read about.
That's the balance.
No. Balance means being still.
No, well, actually,
it's always gonna be if you want something to progress.
State of equilibrium.
Yeah, it's always gonna be moving to one side and the next.
Well, I think it's
a balancing.
I don't
versus
think
being balanced.
I don't think it's my interpretation of it is not necessarily that it's still and something is always at a certain level. It's going to be teetering from time to time.
Well, that's what he was saying. It's balancing versus balanced. That's what he was saying, because one side is always going to have to react to changes on the other side. So it's like a balancing act, but it'll never be balanced.
No, it's constant. And it's not to say that, you need a balance, like you got to have 50% this, blah, blah, blah. No, what it is you find out what works best for you. Because some people are more passionate about their work. And if they decide, okay, well, let me try and give this other part of my life the same amount of time that I give my work, they may be miserable as hell because they enjoy having this portion of their life taking up most of their time. So and for them, that may be a good balance. Right. Balance doesn't, to me at least, and so you could tell me if I'm wrong, but balance to me doesn't necessarily mean, it doesn't necessarily mean equal, like 50-50. Because balance for the workaholic is maybe 80-20 or 95-5. That works for them. So when I say work-life balance, that's what I mean in terms of what's the balance for you personally.
The optimal thing per person.
What keeps you more stable, happy, and at optimal performance and at your happiest point in your life? What works best for you? Because I would probably go crazy if I spent half the amount of time at home watching TV or doing nothing that I do working. I'd probably go crazy because I enjoy constantly doing. I enjoy working. And so I just have to try. The balance is more so with balancing working with resting so that I'm not falling asleep while I'm driving, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to be better at that. Which, if it has to mean going to sleep earlier so that I get enough sleep so that I'm not tired in the morning, that's something that I'm working on in terms of balance. So tell us, that's my fight. What's your fight when it comes to the balance in terms of your work life and maybe rest, maybe family? What's your struggle in terms of that kind of a balance?
My struggle lies in my love for what I do. And my challenge is learning to cut myself off so I could spend time with family and friends. Okay. That's my challenge. Like I would literally say, okay, today I'm going to focus on doing this. After this, I'm done. And then I get to go home early. But then at 3 o'clock, I find one article and I go deep down a rabbit hole. And then it's 10 o'clock already. Right. And then I get home and then my nephew is already gone to bed or people's are upstairs. And it's like, I miss a day. And like when you first start, you don't really notice that until you realize you count 6 months and you barely spend that much time with like your family and friends. And that's a cost of entrepreneurship. But at the same token, it could get a little bit crazy if you don't learn how to check yourself before you burn out. Like it says, one time I was so burned out that I left home to go to a presentation. Right? I took my parents' car instead of taking my car. And I didn't realize I was in my parents' car until I got by Sign Man.
Wow.
By Doctor's Hospital.
Yeah.
Because my mind was completely somewhere else, still rolling and working.
Right.
So, and that was like one of the first times to me is like, yo, I gotta like
ease up.
Ease up.
Yeah.
I think you could also find something that you enjoy doing, that gives you that kind of that peace of mind, I guess, or relaxes your mind. You don't have to think about everything so often. For some people, that could be like exercising. Some people is video games. Some people enjoy apps or games on their phone or tablet. Some people sing, cook. You know, like you have to find that activity that you enjoy doing, and I think that can assist with burnout as well. You do that for a couple hours, and then you kind of feel a little refreshed or renewed. Or
but tell us, balance that time. You have to balance time for yourself with time for work.
But I want to hear about Gail's struggle, though. You see how Gail answer that?
What do you mean?
The struggle. What's your struggle? What's your struggle in terms of balance? What do you find yourself having trouble balancing against your work life? What is the thing? Like with Travis, he said, is spending time with family.
Yeah.
With me, is a lot rest.
Probably the same thing, because like I said, if I'm around people for too long, it's a problem. And so that kind of gets in the way of interacting with other people, like
That's
friends,
funny to me every
family.
time I hear that.
Yeah, because like you want to spend time with those friends, but
yeah, like, I want to, but then
you really don't
want to disappoint. But then at the same time, it's like I can't be fun to be around right now,
right?
Because I'm just
you know. It's like you want to give. That's your friend. Anytime you spend time with somebody, you invest in that time with that person, and you want to do that at the best of your ability. But if you're getting burned out by someone else, and by the time you get to them, you ain't. That's unfair to them.
Yeah,
and that kind of stems to even like relationships. Is like, like you don't want to rob your other
significant other of their time, and like people don't understand, like when I say I don't feel like doing that,
right?
And then they're like, oh, you just being da 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 da. But I'm interacting with people, and people interacting with me.
It just sound like a real struggle for
Gail. So much. Y'all
that's interesting to me. Like what about interacting with people just?
But no,
you
friends
just have to like keep. You always have to be thinking.
Are important to burnout. Yeah, because you gotta engage. If you
have to engage.
You have to engage.
Yeah, so you have to engage in conversations.
Right.
It may not even be conversations you're interested in. You have to like listen to what people are saying, active listening and responding.
You don't have to.
You should for quality interaction with friends and family. You should be present mentally for what they have to say. So that's really my struggle, where I'm just like, I don't feel like doing this, and then people feel like you've disappointed them and all these things, and
because I consider myself to be an introvert as well, but Gail laugh at me, mother freeze. You don't believe me?
No.
Trust me, Gail. I am introverted, but I could be by myself for most of the time, and I'd be quite fine. You know what I mean?
You introverted,
but
you get your energy from being around other people.
Actually, but that's the thing. I think it's both. Like I'm an introvert,
so you're
but
an ambivert.
I think I can.
That's a word for that.
Yeah,
there's a word for that. Was it
ambivert?
Ambivert.
Ambivert. Yes.
You're both. You're extroverted
ambivert.
And introverted. Yeah.
You have both extroverted and introverted characteristics.
I think we all may be to a certain degree. I know how to turn it on and off. Because
you've developed a coping mechanism.
Exactly. Because some people...
That's another sign of burnout. Coping mechanism.
Alcohol is not...
Yeah, we all have our coping mechanisms, right?
Right.
So you've developed whatever. Like I've done a character. Like I could get into character, which is the hosting position and stuff like that. Like we've all developed these things that help us cope with certain things. So you have developed a switch where you could be like, okay, I need to be engaging. I need to talk to people, blah, blah, blah.
Congratulations, by the way. Congrats, that's a feat.
That's progress.
Thank you, I guess. But I could do it. What actually a job I was on kind of helped me with that, because it was a job that involved interacting with people on a regular basis, on a constant basis. Because before that, I probably was more like Gail. Like I really wasn't into being around people. But that really forced me to, engage with people. And I realized, although you have some terrible people, most people ain't that bad. You know what I mean? So it's not that bad.
That's why I laugh at you when you like have these conversations on under the rug and everything.
Why?
Right? Because I can't take it, Greg. When you see that 45-minute mark, and when I start checking out, right? And Greg is be like, well, I think we gotta wrap this up because Gail look like without. Like that's how I go. But then you could go and go and go and go, and you straight.
Because
I guess that's
what
you enjoy doing.
It's fun for me, I guess, because I try to find the fun parts of it and make it work. You know what I mean? I guess that's the coping mechanism, as you call it.
Yeah.
Find the fun aspects of it and, fully engage in it.
Yeah.
Because I consider myself to be introverted as well. But one of the signs when you do take that break, what are the signs that it's time to go back to work? Like for me, I end up really missing working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'll be,
which is good.
like, yeah, that is a good thing. And it's like there have been trips that I've been on, and it's like I start to get itch, like I really miss work, like I'm ready to get back to work. So for me, it's just when I start to miss work and I start thinking about it all the time, I think that's a sign that, okay, I've had a long enough break. What are the signs for you when you do take a break that it's time to get back in the swing of things?
I think the sign for me, kind of to illustrate a little bit more like what happens when you burn out, is that when you burn out and you get to the point where you grind in and you work in, is that, and you get to the point you don't know where to go because things get very foggy. Like you work in and you just move it along, but you don't know where to go next.
There's no direction.
There's no direction. And
yeah.
And at some point when you get super burnout, you feel like it is a dead end. But I feel like when you take those breaks, to me, I kind of like, it's like I get a high level view of what's going on. So like when I take a break, I don't completely detach. I mean, I may detach from like digital stuff and media, but I'll still read, or I'll like kind of take an assessment. Okay, what the hell was I doing that entire time? And then I feel when you've, especially if you take a long enough break to do that, you kind of see where you need to go next or what makes sense. So to me, when I get to the point like, oh, okay, that's what I was doing, or okay, that's what needs to be next. Now I have a little bit more clarity to realize. Is it anyway?
No matter, we know what you mean.
Yeah. So that, okay, this is my purpose, or this is what I'm doing, and then I get back to it. So when I step away long enough for me to know where I need to go next is when it's time to check back in.
Yeah, I agree with what Travis said. Just adding that, especially your creative mind starts moving again. So now when you are at the end of the burnout period and you're at the end of the resting period, your brain starts to re-engage and think about, you know, what can I do next? Oh, I was doing this like this. Maybe I should try this. And when you see your brain starting to, you know, think about things again in a new way, a fresh way, ideas and stuff, that's when I realize, okay, you know what, I'm ready to get back into it. And so that's what it is for me.
Okay, well, I think we touched on enough. I want to go back to the whole, you know, team, no sleep, and all of this promotion and not sleeping.
It's not good for your health,
it's
people. At the end of the day,
do it wisely.
I always tell people,
don't do it just to say you don't sleep.
Don't do it as a badge of honor.
Yeah, it's nothing good about, you know, bragging about that, unless you're really doing something positive and you're not putting your health at risk or anyone else at risk. And I guess sometimes in my case, because if you fall asleep on the road, that's not just you putting yourself at risk, but you're putting other people at risk, which really, you know, caused me to have to kind of pull back a bit. But don't fall for everyone promoting this, you know, team no sleep nonsense, taking Instagram pictures of themselves doing something just to say they're sleeping. 3 a.m. in the morning, still working. You know, I mean, okay, we get it. You don't have to brag and show yourself working. If you are actually working, we'll see it.
Yeah.
We'll see in 5
years. It'll
Your
manifest
work
itself.
shall speak for yourself.
Yes, it'll manifest itself.
I always tell people at work, like, who you think is going to do this when you die? Right? As soon as you die, they will have another person in here. 2 weeks maximum. Sorry.
Shoot, that's a lot of time.
That's a whole different
right?
But yeah.
They can find somebody essentially tomorrow to finish.
They probably got someone there now.
So you need to take care of yourself first.
Yes.
Don't, because you feel some loyalty to the client, or you feel some loyalty to the money, or you feel some loyalty to the company, whatever you're dealing with. You can't do that at the expense of yourself.
And that's an important point, especially for people that have jobs. You know what I mean? And this is me, because I used to do it, you know, it's okay to go above and beyond to a certain extent.
Right.
But like she said, don't do it at the expense of your own health. Don't overexert yourself for this company that would replace you like that in a heartbeat.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So take care of yourself. It's important to be healthy first. That's of utmost importance, because if you're not around, then the work stops.
Yep.
That's the end of that.
Eat, drink enough water, get enough rest.
Take care of yourself. Don't burn yourself out. And on that note, we'll end this episode 15. It was a wonderful conversation as usual. Thank you, Travis and Gail.
Yeah, easy.
Until next time, losers make excuses, winners make adjustments. Thank you for listening, people.
Good night.
See you.
We're back. We're still rolling.
Yeah, we had
It's a hot topic.
We had to come back because I see y'all look like y'all want to drop all the gems after we already wrap up the episode. And Gail dropping gems. Travis about to get passionate and preach. Why y'all ain't say these things? Please say what you wanted to say because you started by saying I wanted to say something. What did you want to say, Travis?
No, the thing I want to say is that one thing that is important to Burnout too, because we really focus on the individual, but like the people that you have around you could also take away from your energy as well.
Not always. Sorry,
I mean,
go on.
like, and it isn't to their intention. It's really on you and your discipline to block out your time for yourself. But it's easy for people or friends or even like meetings and stuff to slip in and say, oh, I need you for this much of time, or could I grab you for a minute, or could I pick your brain? All that stuff eats up your energy, which eats up, like, you got to look at yourself like a battery, right? If you have full charge at the end of the day, right? People eating your time, your energy. If you don't have
be
that,
a Samsung battery.
Petty.
But
Are you a Note 7?
Thank you, Gail. But I learned that too, was that not everybody, they may have the good intentions, but it doesn't really equate to like your energy at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So it's like, you can't spend, like when you go on a trip with a friend and like the first 2 days solid, but like by day 3, day 4, it's like, why I come on this trip with this person?
Yes.
It's like that. And it's like that with everybody.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then Gail, you were talking about like the Industrial Revolution and kind of how that set the pace in terms of like
Doing things,
us moving, doing things and doing faster, better, stronger type of stuff.
But it was an important comment you read.
Read
that comment again because I wanted to.
Actually in our the community group, the STC community group. Shameless plug. The comment was, get there right now. Breaks are like investing in your startup or career. We often fail to see it that way. There's a culture to see a break as being lazy.
Right. Let's address that.
Right.
Being lazy.
Yes. Listen to me.
Quotes.
Listen to me. What happened, Gail? You were
sorry,
excited. Go ahead. Go ahead. Get it out. Get it out.
I think that's our parents' faults because they had less to work with to do more with. They had less to work with in terms of like technology and stuff like that we have. So work was especially really important for them. Like I'm thinking about my dad. Me and my sister laying down in bed past like 6 a.m. and he is like, the only thing you could get laying down is pregnant. My dad tell us that.
I got to teeth that from Pops.
Like they view waking up with the crockett on and you go to bed and you sleep and you work. But at the same time, we have like technology now.
Right.
So it's a whole different ball game. We're still obsessed with those type of hours, but we're able to do more with less. Right. And then we don't know what to do with like the excess. You know what I mean? So what may have taken our parents 15 hours to do, we could now do in 5.
Right. And not just parents, but I think there are some, young people that feel that way as well. Listen to me. Stop checking for what people say or think about you and your schedule.
Yes.
If you need a break, you don't
take it.
Take that break and don't give a damn what they say about laziness, because they don't see when you putting in 18 hours a day and 7 days a week. So don't give a damn, or if they call you lazy, stop. People care too much about what other people say or think about them. I couldn't care less, buddy, because you don't see me when I waking up 3-4 o'clock in the morning and I get into bed 11, 12 in the night. So don't come and talk. When you see me take a week off, talk about, oh look, he could have been working around here taking break and thing. Yeah, I take a break because I just finished working 300 days straight. You understand? So I take a break. When you look at it, most people who have a job, you work in your job, you're working 8 hours a day. You getting, 2 weeks, most jobs every year, vacation.
Yeah.
2 weeks of vacation every year. Most people got at least 2 to 3 days off a week. But me, I work in every flipping day. 7 days a week, buddy.
Which is your choice.
Yes, 7, and that's by choice.
Which means you need to choose to take a break.
Right, and when I choose to take that break, go call your ma lazy.
A comment from Kieran saying, I suggest doing something to remind yourself of why you fell in love with the job or entrepreneurship. Case in point, as a web developer, Global Day of Code Retreat is a chance to write good code without the stress of deadlines or clients. So obviously he still enjoys doing it, but without burnout, without clients, without stress, without deadlines,
Right.
it becomes a bit more testy. So
Right.
there's a take a day, right, and then get back into it.
I
the
totally
next day.
agree with that. It's like and that at the same time you're sharpening your skills. One way that, especially when it's burned out, that I realize that helps me a lot is that, and you miss this too, kind of being in the trenches, is that I haven't done it yet, but like I have a friend who has an inbox, like a folder in his mail that he keeps all his thank you like emails that he gets from clients and like projects that he worked on. Like to like if he feels low, he like kind of gets his gratitude box where like he sees all the people that he's helped.
That's
Right.
cool.
So like
a little reminder.
Right. Like I tried that before. I looked through email, but I didn't get to categorizing it yet because work, I guess. But there's always been a point in time where when I felt low, that I ran into somebody saying, "Oh, Trav, keep doing that, but you give me so inspiration and stuff like that. Like I did this thing," and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's I guess I could do another day."
Right. Right. Yeah, it is. It is.
I think another good thing to do is volunteering.
Okay.
Where it doesn't have to be an official thing, but give somebody else, give of your time without any reward or anything. Like it could be volunteering somewhere. It could be offering to babysit your nephew, as you mentioned. Just something that kind of offering to babysit your nephew. But different things that you kind of volunteer to do. That you feel good when you donate of your time to other people, especially if they are in need of it. So that's another way to kind of combat burnout as well. Take some time and do something positive and contribute.
Awesome. Okay, we can end it for true now. Y'all ain't got no other stuff y'all keeping inside that y'all may want to get out
next episode
when I press stop it.
No, but what we like to say too is
see, just say no. All right, go ahead.
Not related to this, but for people who listen to this or are looking live, if you have any suggestions of what we should talk about for a particular show, leave us a comment what you want to hear about, or if you listen to this, let us know, shoot us messages, and let's keep this going. We episode 15. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I gotta say it again. Losers make excuses. Winners make adjustments. Stop making excuses. Get up, wake, do something. Cool.